Let's start from
Perfect.
what you actually built, where do you use it? So yeah, stage is yours.
Great. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Eliana. So, I will just give a bit of background as to how this came about. Um, firstly, well, before I go into that, so today I'll be demoing on it's a SaaS company. So, with recurring revenue, ARR, subscriptions. So then how did this come about? So, I had a client who basically had the request where, there's contracts that are being signed and then these contracts, so in this case, we are using Chargebee. So subscriptions get created on Chargebee. And then from there, it goes to QBO. So QBO is the accounting system. So inside there, there's a lot of room for errors. So, there's a lot that can go wrong. And so I essentially built this reconciliator. So it simply says, okay, what are the contracts? And then what are we contracts or what subscriptions are we creating on Chargebee? And then what's the MRR, the subscription revenue on that we recognize on QBO. So that is the first thing. So what I'll be doing today, I'll take you through the three sources and then I'll show you how I get to this. So like step by step how I got to building this. Okay, so firstly is the contract. So sorry, I'll just screen sharing at the bottom. I just want to quickly
So
move
this
it,
is like
guys.
an output that you share now. So this is a final
Uh,
output that you got. So this like revenue reconciliation file. So let's maybe like first like go like how you read like this output. So with revenue reconciliation. So what will we get
Awesome.
like on the final end after all the steps?
Awesome, awesome. So basically, so in this case, we've got 7 signed contracts. And then of the contract ARR is, well, the MRR in this case is 29,000. And then in charge B, we recognize 20,000. So we can clearly see a gap over there. And then the next part, so at the bottom, we see the signed contracts, and then we can see all the information that we want to see. And then, so then the next step, so that's our first layer. And then our second layer is charge B MRR, which we have. So that's that amount to GL, which is in QBO with a clear variance. So what this then enables me to do is to very quickly say, okay, there's an issue. This is the mismatch. Let's go fix it. So that will also be part of what I'll show in this demo. Um, okay, so sorry, I just want to. Okay, so the first step in this was okay. Well, I'll get a bit in terms of to the prompting a bit later, but the first source rather was so the contracts are stored inside a drive, and simply gave it access to console. So you'll see there's a G service account. I'll speak a bit more about this when I get to the prompting in terms of sources and connecting sources. So for now, this is how the data got into my dashboard. So it's live, it feeds like every 3 minutes, it updates. So as contracts get added, it just goes live to the dashboard. So you can see this as an API. So for anyone who's not familiar with the term of API, it's very similar also to MCP that we're kind of viewing right now. So it's like, how do you have different source systems talk to each other? So in this case, when I'm working with any like Google Drive, G Sheets, I use a G service account. That's the way in which I create the connection to my dashboard. Okay, so then next I have Chargebee. So in Chargebee, so over here it's like a lot of a lot of SaaS companies that use subscription revenue are using Chargebee right now. So it's just simply created my subscription. This is obviously a demo, so it just created some subscriptions or some customers and subscriptions. And the link is with a direct API. So once again, this links to my Reconcile, and I'll get to the Reconcile now live. So I generated, so using Claude, I said, okay, I need to connect this with the API. It showed me in the instructions how to get the API keys, plugged it in there, and it now it pulls automatically to my dashboard. The third one is so QBO. So with QBO, there's two options. So you have the API, the developer API. It sits because of like security. Obviously, takes a bit longer to set up. Another option is once again with the export. So you can set up your system where you export your documents from like your accounting system. It can be any accounting system. And then inside Claude, you would just like, if you want to update it, you could say, hey, like update this data. Other alternative is to just build an upload functionality. I've done that a few times. So you could literally just tell it like build in upload functionality inside my app and have it then populate the information. Okay,
So
so
as for
yes.
now, just like brief summary. So if everyone understand that, so we have three top sources here.
Mhm.
So accounting, which we have in QBO, but it can be actually different accounting system. Chargebee is the same. It can be like Stripe or any other system where you have your invoices. And the third one is documents. And I think that like we saw many companies who have like all these agreements and actually how to take this information from these agreements, or you should take it like manually and put it somewhere. So you just like review all the stuff and match it like with subscriptions, etc. Take all the rules from these contracts. So what Emily shared, so with this JSON actually, so we will now see how it works. So this is like mind-blowing, and I think this is cool part that we can actually be connected to this contracts and agreements. So yeah, this is just like brief summaries, resources, but it can depend. So for your company, it can be different, but the structures, I think, can be like pretty similar.
What I'll say on this, so like very interesting. So like just by connecting like Claude to this, like I actually like trained it how to read the contract. So some of the contracts, like the contracts weren't even the same structure. They were like, the subscription revenues were on different places. So in like it's like you can actually like train it how to read the data, and then it will over time get better. It builds up a skill, and then it would then still so the way in which it pushes the data to my dashboard is with the G service. So there's a whole like thing that you train and for it to how to interpret it. So I think it's very interesting like where things are going right now. So I'll now like start to just explain like a bit more practically like how I did this. So I started with Claude Code. So this whole thing was built using Claude Code. I've recently, so I worked on Terminal. I've used CoWork, but most recently I use Claude Code for everything that I build. So there's very little that I don't do on Claude Code. So it was all like a step of like, hey, okay, like I don't know, like I want to build this. Like, where do I build it? I want to build a dashboard. Where do I do it? And essentially it guided me through every single thing. So there's nothing, like I said, I always had like understanding of data, but no technical background. And I think we hear this a lot is like you just need to start somewhere. You need to have a plan in mind. And I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with this, but there's a plan mode inside Claude Code, and I use that a lot. So when I want to like conceptualize things, I switch to plan mode and I just start typing like I want to build this, I want to do this, and then I plan everything in there and then we start. So Reconcile is the second thing, like tool that I use. So how did I like decide on Reconcile? Well, Claude told me to use Reconcile because of like flexibility. And very interesting enough, like after that, I spoke to our head of engineering, and I spoke to some like more technical people, and I was like, I'm using Reconcile, and they were like all stretched the eye, like so cool. I'm like, oh, okay, like it was purely like Claude telling me, hey, use Reconcile. It's very dynamic. It's like there's an MCP also, so you connect your MCP into your Claude code, and it just deploys very quickly. It takes like any deployment. So for maybe someone who's completely not technical, like deployment is just a feature that you put into your app. It takes like maybe a minute, 2 minutes at most. More complex things very complex thing could take like 3 minutes.
So
So
let's maybe explain like everyone like what is Verso. So I just shared the link here. So let's maybe start like if anyone like who's listening us now, so watching, do you guys used Verso before or not? Maybe just like say yes or no. So Vercel is just like for anyone who is new to that. So yes, Vercel is just like, the sync, how to visualize. So when you think about like dashboards, etc., so we have like people who already use it. But for people who don't know, so Vercel is just like, as Emily said, so you connect it to Claude Code. It's just like interface that you can build with Vercel. And the dashboard that Emily shared at the start, so the output that we got, it's like already built on Vercel. So in Claude Code, you have like all the backend parts, all the rules, all the things. And on Vercel, actually you have like this front end thing. And with Vercel, it's good that like it actually can be like updated real time. So as soon as your data is updated, it's running through Claude and visualize everything actually in Vercel. So it just like to make it easier, but it's not like the whole thing about Vercel. So if you haven't seen it before, so you can actually check it. But in this use case, so we actually use it like to build like this interface to have it everything in one place.
Thanks, Adriana. Yeah, so next is GitHub. So GitHub, the reason why I use GitHub is so I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of GitHub. So it's just like the place where you store things. So that is just to make sure that my code and everything is in the cloud and in an environment. So it's like my drive for my code. It depends, it would definitely depend on the size of your organization. So if you are like just building for yourself or like smaller, you could definitely do the same thing like on your local PC. So there's really no difference. You could create a folder structure. Like personally for me that's even easier. So if you can like when you're starting off like a local folder file is more than satisfactory. Recently, I've also even like created like a drive on my PC and then like a Google Drive and then so I would like create the local version of that and then I would have my inputs and my outputs just store on that same folder. So you could see that also you could do the same thing. So GitHub is just like the very well-known platform that are being used by developers. So there's a lot of alternatives for that. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly before I show some like live things. So basically just to come back to the output of this. So what does this thing actually do? It just surfaces issues immediately. So it's like kind of like a audit trail, like a live audit trail. So you can at any given point in time, you could like understand, okay, this is wrong, like let's fix it. So it's not like a thing of where after month end you have an internal auditor like flag issues and run things. This is just a live way of like searching for issues and then fixing it as you go. So it just makes everything a lot faster, a lot like cleaner, and then it prohibits like the issue of like drift. So what I've noticed with like a lot of times with like month end close, we need to like meet a certain deadline and then we just end up like posting like the MRR and then it just like 3 months down the line, our it's like it just skews everything and then I'm trying to like create dashboards of like new and churn and like all my SaaS metrics and it's just all messed up because the revenues is messed up. So this dashboard just helps like prevent that and we know everything's clean from the get-go. So I want to just now quickly show there's another element of this. So I've just have a snapshot of the P&L. So generally I include the whole profit and loss in this view, but you can see, so this is now like the import from QBO. So import all, you can build an API connection from QBO or Xero, whatever accounting system you're using, and it pulls over here. So this is now like a way of like I'm reconciling my revenue so it's like this GL revenue to my subscription revenue that I have inside my profit and loss. So more on the profit and loss shortly because I'm gonna be demoing some stuff. So the first thing now I'm gonna move over to before I go to demoing some. So what I want to do in this case, I want to fix a mismatch that I have over here. So before I do that, Aliona, is there anything that you want to add before I
No, I think we can go like to live demo. So first of all, yes, with this like mismatch that you found, and after that we can go actually to
Perfect.
other things. And I think like we
Okay.
have a question here about deferred revenue visibility in this dashboard.
So with deferred revenue, so this you could see it as like so in terms of recognition, you could build that on top. So this dashboard specifically, its aim wasn't like from a revenue recognition deferral, etc. So in this case, I just want to pick up, but you could add your balance sheet and make sure that it reconciles, etc. So you could definitely build that as an element. So it would be like, what are your requirements? And then just add it there. So it's really like the sky's your limit in terms of this. So hope it answers the question. Um, okay, so in this case now, so I've got a client. Let me move this little thing to my other screen. Okay, so I've got a one client over here which is called Palmetto. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I heard there's a lot of Spanish people in the in the audience. Okay, so essentially in this case, there's no charge BMRR. So there was a contract, but there was no subscription created on Chargebee. Okay, so I'm going to head over to Chargebee, and I'm going to just create the subscription. All right, so I added them as a client before the meeting. So I'll now just go through it. Like I said, all of this is demo information. So um, okay, I'll add the amount as 7,500. I know that's what it should be from the contract. Um, I'll put the start date as it's the 15th of September. All right, I think that's everything that I need for this. Let's hope so.
So the
Okay, so
first
I'm creating the,
the
yes,
first
Eliana?
case, so you found like this mistake with this dashboard, so like and you found it like pretty fast, so like you can fix it with Chargebee.
Exactly. And it's like it showed me exactly because I know I have those three places where there could potentially be a mismatch. So that was um like it showed so like going to the dashboard, it like immediately I knew that that was the miss where the mismatch was, added it and like so new contract MRR charge be nothing. So that told me, hey, like there's a gap and like the gap is the fact that it's not on charge B. Alternative, maybe you could like go on to the error could be if you have like dealing with a lot more client, like maybe there's like a naming mismatch or it's etc. So it could be many things, but this still enables you to identify that very quickly. So one of the things that I generally do is I don't generally work with company names. I work with numbers because names there's like a lot of room for error, but that's also something that you could like build in yourself. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it like because it could take up to like 3 minutes or so. If it's, I'll also show if it doesn't show up, I'll show what I'm going to do to like kind of just say like, hey, read your API. So we'll go. I'm going to move to the next part of the live demo. So we've already created the subscription, so all's good over there. I hope I did everything correctly. The next thing that I want to do is I'm now like looking at my profit and loss, and I just feel like I want like a month on month like clickable drill down on top of this. So I've got a little prompt over here. I'm going to head over to Claude. I'm not, and then I'm just going to put it in here. So what I did before the session, just to make sure, so I generally am working on a lot of clients, so my Claude knows me very well. But I structure all my like work by clients or by you can do it by department or like section of your work. So then when you are so I'm generally like working on 5 different things at the same time. So when I start, I would just like attach the folder where all of that information lives. So in this case, like this is where all the hello rewards information lives. So I just said, okay, hey, this is what we're going to be doing now. And in this case, I want to on the P&L tab add a month over month view. Clicking the total income should review the small bar. So just in very plain text said what I want to do. Let's now see what Claude does. Don't let me down.
I think like we have several questions here. So the first one, so is there another tool for cash matching that you have? I think it's just like Chargebee. Yes, so like Chargebee, we have the payments and contracts and QuickBooks that we have.
Um, so cash matching in the sense of so like did you um I'm trying to think like cash magic to the contract. So in this case, there's Charge B. So Charge B does a lot of that. So if you have your subscriptions on Charge B, it would then make sure that those subscriptions are being paid for. And then other than that, yeah, so QuickBooks. And so generally like how I these days like how I initiate ideas for building new things is if I'm like using Charge B and I'm using QuickBooks and I identify like some gap between those, that is when I use Claude. I would say, like, hey, Claude, this is my gap. Like, my cash matching is not working well because of these reasons. Like, please, let's plan something to like fix that gap. So yeah, in this case, it's not an issue for me. So I haven't built anything for that, but that's how I would approach it. Um, okay, let's another question, Aliona.
Yeah, we have also another one where you're getting the contracts from HubSpot and other CRM. So it was totally like in folder, in Google folder, Ramandeep, that we had it. But I think like usually like it depends. I don't know like what is the operational process you have. So in most companies we see that like these contracts are somewhere, yes, or in HubSpot or like in the worst case they just like have this Google folder where they like have it. So in this case we just connected to Google folder like with JSON part. Let us know, Gianni and Ramandeep, if we answered like your questions. And we are having this another question. You're showing the P&L, right? Which is the income statement. How do I know I got paid? So now I think like this is similar, Johnny, with cash matching. So in this case, we connected to QuickBooks. So in QuickBooks, it depends if it's connected like banks there. So if not, it's also possible actually to connect like I think banking statement. But for banking statement and for cash reconciliation, you actually, if it's like also happening in Claude, it's another like I think agent or skill that you need to add to do this thing. So it depends if you have this reconciliation already happening in your accounting system or not. So in this case, we approach that it's happening in QuickBooks. So in other cases, it depends on the case. Maybe we will do the next
Yeah.
several
Yeah, so
webinars about other
Aliona,
things.
I have a good example actually. So I recently built an AR dashboard, so AR tracker. So that's exactly like for cash. So that would show like is the person and the data completely pulls from QuickBooks. So it like pulls your AR from QuickBooks, and then if you have your counterpart for like the customers, it would match and check like have they been paid, and then it would if it obviously has been paid, then it won't show on the AR tracker. So it's like an AR tracking tool, and so you could see it as something completely separate to this. So this is very much accrual focus. So everything that I'm showing today is accrual, and because of like SaaS, it's very important to see that your MRR is very important, and likewise the ARR. So you need to get all your clients into the right cohorts. So your AR and
Thanks,
cash
guys. You're
tracking is.
giving us like next topics for webinar. So the next one definitely will be share about AR and cash matching actually. So I think
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think it should be done. So I'll quickly oh, one hour. Let me just quickly. Oh, so hard refresh. And then I'm gonna go in here. Oh no, it's showing over here on the um. Oh, so I see now it did it on a local host. So apologies for that. But as you can see over here, so this is the dashboard, but it's so you can click on the total income and it shows like month on month and like just exactly like I asked it to. So in this case now to like say like why did it do like revert to a local host? So like in general like some when you're planning it would initially like do local host, and then when you're setting up your Vercel you link it directly to, so you would like link it to your like Vercel, and in the instructions tell it to like every deployment must go to Vercel. But it's very clear. So I think in this case, like part of like what went wrong because it's a demo, it just said, okay, just didn't set up the whole like Vercel part of it. So it defaulted to like the local host. But the local host, what I can say about it, it is great sometimes because you could very easily make changes to this. So with the Vercel, as you go, so I build in a lot of security, so like Google logins, etc. So essentially, my Claude can't get access to my Vercel dashboards in a lot of cases. So then when I'm planning, I also do like use localhost to quickly like see how it's going to look before I deploy it to Vercel because yeah, it can't access my client's information on my dashboards. Okay, so now I'm gonna just say I updated information on my charge B. Please check it to check over there. I'll go back now and see if it works. Oh, it did. Okay, great. All right, so I'm happy that that worked and tested beforehand. So yeah, essentially you can see it. So this was really like live charge B like API. So the to see, like I said in the beginning, APIs are very important, like play a very important role in this. So I'm not sure how long it took, but it was fast enough. Like it's near live that it pulled I created the subscription and now it's showing, okay, it's matched. So yeah, that's like all there is to it.
Let's maybe see like what you have like with Claude Code, so how you come like
Mhm.
to this dashboard. So this is like I think the next
Yeah.
very interesting part for everyone. So how you came like was building like this final dashboard was taking like all this information.
So do you mean, Aliona, do you mean like what was my process in creating this dashboard?
Yes, yes, I think like you have like this part, like, okay, this is still working. So different comments here. So what is happening? So, but let's maybe view like the script that you used. So in details, like what did you use like to build like this dashboard?
So basically, okay, so the script, okay, this is the local host. So in creating this, so let's um so my first step, like I mentioned in the start, was plan mode. So I went into plan mode and I said, like, I am building a revenue reconciliator. So I'm just gonna create a new session over here. I'm gonna say like so I'm gonna go over into plan mode and I'm gonna say I am okay. I'm gonna say I'm building a AR tracker for Euro oh sorry, Hello Rewards. Um, I let's plan this like and then it would just so it would take all of the information that it knows like of your rewards so you could very as like so the thing is I think what's changed in general like about so when we started like initially like when Claude with like especially with ChatGPT, a lot of it was like we saying like, okay, we need to prompt, like prompting is super important. We need to make sure that we're prompting correctly. I think a lot of that's actually changed where we could like just be quite vague, but the better it knows you, the better it's going to be at like creating things like for you. So if you just build up that context and that memory, it will still be able to like create things for you. So yeah, it's just like about the planning. So even if you're vague, you just start planning and you just like start iterating. I think that's yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, Aliona.
So you just like start with this plan mode, what you want to build. And actually
Yeah.
like Claude Code is just like giving like you all the next steps, like from what to start. So just like guiding you, so what to do, what to connect, and like JSON is also like I think like was one of like the points what actually like Claude recommended, yes, to use like to make it to make the connection between like Google Drive and Claude.
Yeah, so I think with JSON, so to stop on that a little bit, so especially with Vercel, so what JSON essentially is, it's like it puts the data like into a structure for it to easily understand like what's on the back end. So it's like it's the way in which it like converts it. Um, and also like so for example, like when you building dashboards, like all of the data like that you see on the dashboard, that is like stored in a JSON behind this. So it's like the tables that informs that. So it's also like something where I don't even give the JSONs much thought, but it helps a lot for me. So like previously when something like breaks, then all of your dashboards go blank. Like with JSON, it just stores it there at the back. So then at least when something breaks on the back, it has time to you can like first go fix it. So also like on that, what I do is I use like Slack. So I have a daily Slack health checks. I call them Slack health checks. So all the logic, like once I'm finished building this dashboard, I tell Slack, hey, or I tell Claude, hey, I want to like make sure that this dashboard is like everything's fine, all my sources are fine. Just create like this health check for me, and then send me a notification to my Slack. Then at least, so even if it did break, the JSON would like still make the values that you're seeing, like there will be still be values. The last known values will be stored on your dashboard.
How was detailed, you know, like this question that you put into Claude with when you planned what you want to build. So can you
Mhm,
just like maybe you have like this message that you put like when you build this like high lore like this like prototype for this company, maybe have like some message how detailed it should be, you know, like should we
mhm,
write like please build like revenue recognition agent, or should we write okay, I'm doing like this, like you know like the whole description like step by step what you should put in this like Claude plan, so it actually understands and like we can get like this result, because it can be like tricky. So you can just like write very general and it will give you like
mhm.
some general stuff, not something that will work. So from this perspective, how detailed was like this, you know, like your ask prompt, like in this plan module in Claude?
So I think what happened in this case, is like so if you also I think it depends very much in terms of like how frequently you are using like your Claude code for like the specific thing that at hand which you want to build. If you like to starting today, and you like it doesn't know much about it doesn't have enough context as to like what you're going to build today. It's going to your prompting is a lot more important. So to be a little bit more practical, so I unfortunately can't show it because it's on a real client, but so in this case I've been for months and months. So what was the step before this? So let me first go there. I used to manually do this. So I manually went, there was a channel with contracts. I would manually go and then I would open Chargebee, I would check it, and then I would like open up QBO, check it. Like that was my first step. So I would say like the actual legwork that went into this was understanding what the manual process looked like. That was my first, like the first and most important part of all of this. So understood the manual process. And then also with that, like Claude understood like all of these struggles because I used to like upload my QBO file to Claude and say, hey, like look for anomalies, like look, why isn't the revenue like reconciling, like what's going on, whatever. So it had a lot of context. So in that case, so it was like it was like a prompt of okay, we now going to start like we're going to now automate this process which me and you have been doing manually for the last 6 months. So it was actually like a vague prompt and it was like ask me loads of questions. So that was like that's the case of it understanding you, like knowing okay, this is what we're doing, like I went through the manual, etc., etc. if you are if you are now like today you start and you like you've never done this before, but you have a very clear like business need. So you know now, okay, I need an AR tracker. You've haven't done anything in relation to AR. You haven't even like uploaded your AR from QBO or from Zero onto Claude. So it doesn't know anything. You would then just start and you would say like, and that would be like a traditional like how we were taught how to prompt like, hey, I am Annalie, the CFO of company X, and I would like to, I'm really battling with my AR and this is my issues and this is what I struggle with. And, I'm thinking of maybe doing a dashboard, but I'm not sure. So then I would go a lot more detail in terms of like what I'm prompting. So that was like me day one when I didn't even know Vercile existed. I was like, I have this idea of like building dashboards for my clients, which I can very quickly like update and like I'm not sure what I want, but and I have no experience in this. And then it was like, hey, okay. And then I was like, please dumb it down for me. And then it like took me step by step. So it really depends, Aliona, like where are you on the journey and how it understands you and knows you. Um yeah, there's like bit of like jokes, internal jokes like in the company where I'm like, when I see the issues that people have with Claude, I'm like, I don't experience any of that. Like my Claude understands me. He knows he needs to be like he needs to be
Uh,
lenient on me. It's not a good day for
depends.
for
Yeah, it depends, but
issues.
I
Yeah.
think for everyone like who is watching us, so it's a really good point. If you already done the things like with Claude manually, so you put some stuff, ask Claude to check it. But ideally would be like what we see is just like first like describe what you do manually. So that's why we believe that like all finance people who do this stuff manually. So the first thing will be just like describe. Actually describe how you do the things manually. You also can do with Claude. Audio like to text in Claude is not like the best, but sometimes we use ChatGPT to do audio to text, and after that put it to Claude, and it actually can do like the whole like structure how you do the thing now. So yeah, so you're sharing, for example, recurring revenue here, but if you have another revenue model, it depends only like if you can write down like how you do this stuff manually now, step by step. And after that, we have an approach how we do this thing. So we first like we have test, and after that live. So with test, we actually run like this, like, and we write it in a prompt in skill that firstly we test this, how it works. And after that, like we write the rules, like find mistakes in like what outputs you made. And after the test, we only after we make it live. So this is another like tricky point that we have with agents and with Claude. And with Vercel, yes, when you just like say like, okay, now I want to connect like to Vercel, so like Claude actually will open like Vercel, can open Vercel on your laptop, ask you to log in, and that's all what actually like you need to do to make it work. So, but in any case, if you start like just start with description, what exactly you're doing manually, like step by step. And after that, like put it like now you want to automate that with this plan module, like was only what Annalie shared. And after that, you can just like go step by step connecting all the things. And one point I think like that is importantly, why are you using like Claude Code, for example, like not like Claude Cowork?
Understand. I think that's a very good question. So, Aliona, so I think for me the main reason was okay. So, um, I so my first answer to that is I really feel like Claude Code understands me more. Like my code really understands me more. Um, and I just think that one of the main reasons was it's kind of like been a very like common thing for us to like work in projects and then you build skills. So that's like the first step in building agents is you have a project and then you give it like instructions and then there's a memory, you link it to a file, a folder. So like the very basic thing is like you have an input and an output. So you create this project with inputs and outputs and you add and I just really felt like co-work was not great at like reading and like knowing where to put things automatically compared to code. So co-work like gets confused. It always saved my documents in the wrong place. So it creates this like little .claude folder on my PC, on my local PC, and it so um earlier in the meeting I mentioned like so I actually work directly in like files from my Google Drive. Claude Code does it well. Cowork, not. Like it doesn't find it. It can apparently read files from the Google Drive, but it can't like save files into that same drive.
So do you
So
mean,
those were like
sorry for interrupting. So do you mean like that you're saving this, so Claude Code saving like inputs, outputs, not on your like PC as usual, like Claude is doing. So it's actually like with Claude Code, you're saving this on like Google Drive, yes?
exactly. And it's much better. Like it's the integrations and the connections work a lot better. But the one thing I'll add to this, like this changes like every week. So the way and the structure and my preference to all of this like changes every single week. So whatever I'm saying like today is based off of like how I experience it today and based off of it. So one of the big like downsides of Claude Code, what a lot of people experience is the fact that there is not projects. There's like you can't create a project. The only thing that's available is groups. So that's like one of the big limitations, I would say. So it kind of feels a little bit more messy when you start working because you're like, how do you know where to go? And then but it does. It really knows where to go find the folders. And then like also something I wanted to say. So what is quite important is to like your folders. So from the get-go, like so there's like certain like terminologies which are very well known like in in the world of like vibe coding. So skills and MD files, etc. So you can it will kind of automatically like already create those. And like so I'm gonna actually, so Leon, I don't know if you mind, I'm gonna just quickly stop sharing and I'll just quickly open up the folder which was created as part of this so I can just show that folder. So give me a sec. um Here we go. um okay, awesome. I'm just going to reshare so I can show that. So now, uh, okay, so um, all right. So this is how um a like the folder that it created. I just want to make sure you can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, we see your screen.
So this is like the rule set. So if you think of it this way, so previously we added like skills and memory instructions, etc., on Cowork, and we like attach them and whatever. So everything that you see here, so this is like the way in which this is operating, like everything that I built. And the thing with with code, it created everything. You'll see like every time you create a new thing, like this structure is always the same. It has the MD files, it has the JSON files and the structures, etc., etc. So it keeps this, and I feel like this is like, I mean, I'm not a technical person, but I feel like this is where the magic happens, and this is why it's able to like just do what it needs to do very well. So yeah.
Yeah, it structures like all the things always like in different folders, and you have like API folder here, which is like what Claude is creating when like integrating with different things. You have Vercel when you're just like putting this to final output in Vercel. So yeah, in Claude usually like in this MD file you have like all the like crews, what you like write there. So this is something, yes, is a structure that is usually like created and used. And I think like the structure is growing, like, I mean, like the content inside is growing when you're just like using this like revenue recognition agent all the time. But yeah, this is true how it's structured. Maybe we have some other questions in the chat. Oh no, let me just, okay, well, everyone is thinking. 1 second. We have like the whole file like for you guys, like what you can like reuse after. So we have short file like what actually we are building. So what is insights, how it works, how it's connected, what prompt actually we used for that. So we'll share this file with you after the webinar. So let me be, no, do you have this file so we can briefly share this?
Oh, so do you mean, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Sorry, let me just share it quickly. Mm. Um, mm. So this was just it was created by Claude,
Also
but it
by
was just
Claude.
in a few minutes. So it was just like how I planned the demo basically, but I'll add some more information in here, but it just like so it shows like all of the steps and everything. So you'll see over here the background so the billing and then the sources, so it explains that and then how it gets built and then yeah, so like what it does and the mismatching, etc. And then over here was the live build. So I'll definitely add, so what I'll add to this Iona is just like I said, like a raw prompt had you not had all of the had your Claude not known you as well as mine knows me. So I'll add that as like, hey, it's day one. I have this issue. And yeah, I'll also what I'll do is yeah, I'll add that to this document and we'll share it.
Yeah, so we will share, guys, with you the prompt. So like even like when you see like how it works, like all the rules, like how to connect this data. So what do you have in the final output? It's mostly like what is writing in prompt to Claude Code. So this is all. If no one has question, I think we're gonna end. And yeah, thank you all actually for joining. Thanks, Annalie, for sharing that. And yes, guys, we'll send you an email with all the details and hope you will run your revenue recognition agent smoothly without spending too much time on that.